con Puerto Rico.
Muy bien.
¿Cómo fue la cosa? ¿Me pueden decir? ¿No saben algo del Spanish American War?
I know that the U.S. invaded the
Can we answer in English? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying for her.
Because I can resist.
Okay.
Oh,
If you want me to, okay. Well, I'm just asking, did you go over like a little of the history of how this all came about?
You just kind of said that the U.S. invaded in like
1898. Yeah, well, what happened, it's like if you take Caribbean and go over this, what happened was in 1898, we became involved in the Spanish-American War. And it was a funny time in world history that you're all going to talk about, when it seemed like countries, European countries especially, they got this kind of thing going where they all wanted to have colonies. It was like the way they competed with each other. So countries like Germany and England and Portugal and Holland, they were all over Africa and Asia. And by 1900, every single bit of Africa, except for one little country, Liberia, belonged to a European power, which is, if you really think about it, this is a very weird thing, don't you think? Like seriously, like what does one have to do with the other? But it's like they competed, and they went in there and they had their armies and all of that, and they could just like easily just win. So there was a German Swaziland and all these people, all over the place. So what happened is, of course, the United States, we were coming along, we were still a very new country, and we kind of picked up this like little expand ourselves fever as well. And we ended up taking over Hawaii in 1898, and then we got involved in the Spanish-American War, which was really kind of a put-up war. It really was, and I hope you get to study a little more about it. So we won this war quickly and easily. And at the end of it, Spain had to give up its remaining few places that Spain still owned. Spain, as you know, they owned everything at one time, this whole hemisphere. But at that time, all they had left was a little island out in the Pacific called Guam, and Cuba, and Puerto Rico. So Cuba got its independence. We never were thinking about keeping it. We still own Guam, and Puerto Rico ended up in this odd relationship where all of a sudden we were the owners of Puerto Rico, and the Puerto Ricans had actually been trying to get their own independence from Spain for some time before that. It was like, I think, a really crushing thing to your hero, Mr. Betances.
Exactly.
He died very sad in Paris. Poor guy. I saw the pictures of him, and he looked so sad. Steve. So that's how we ended up with Puerto Rico, and then ever since we've been in this weird, like halfway situation. I guess you've gone over that with the video, right?
Exactly.
Where Puerto Ricans are American citizens, but they can't vote in the presidential election.
I just shared that with them.
Here.
Exactly. I just shared that with them.
Isn't that the strangest thing?
Exactly.
And Puerto Ricans don't have to pay American income taxes, which is like a plus for them. But on the other hand, they have to follow all kinds of American laws, which may or may not actually be a thing. Every place is different, and Puerto Rico is an island, and it's different. So there's all kinds of issues. One issue that a lot of people mention actually is that if Puerto Rico became a state, then Puerto Rico could no longer represent itself in things like the Olympics, where they always have a team, or the Miss Universe competition. This is like very important to Puerto Ricans, who are very interested in this kind of thing, and they wouldn't have that they might lose their identity as Puerto Ricans. So that's one thing about being a state. It might bring them benefits. It might not. I don't know. What did you all decide when you were watching this? What was your opinion? How many of you thought statehood would be a good idea? Are you independentista?
Yo no soy una independentista. Lo fui en mis años de universidad. Lo fui en mis años de universidad ideológicamente, pero luego del paso de los años y de convertirme realmente en una adulta, mi punto de vista cambió.
What is your punto de vista on
Mi,
this now?
mi punto de vista es que Puerto Rico lleva una relación de muchísimos años ya con Estados Unidos, una relación que tiene muchas posibilidades como todo en la vida. Yo pienso que precisamente porque llevamos tantos años de relación tan estrecha con Estados Unidos, todo se puede trabajar y todo podría funcionar asumiendo responsabilidades y recibiendo beneficios también. Porque, por ejemplo, as I just shared with them, los puertorriqueños no pueden votar por un presidente, pero los puertorriqueños mandan mucha gente a la guerra. Y mucha de nuestra gente,
Exactly, during Vietnam, when we still had a draft, Puerto Ricans were drafted.
Exacto, entonces...
Exactly, so if you could die for this country, then I kind of think you ought to get a vote in a presidential
At
election.
least that, exactly.
I'm with that.
Exactly.
On the other hand, I just don't know, do you think you could lose your identity? I mean, that is another thing.
It is really interesante que ayer muchas de las niñas que estaban en mi otra clase cuando el señor Peña estuvo aquí, e incluso the first day when we watched the video for the first time, muchas de las niñas contestaron que no por tu ser Estado tú pierdes tu identidad, porque incluso estas niñas que están aquí, as I like to say, cuando ellas ven una croqueta, they don't think of croquette. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or when they look at or they listen to bailando, they don't think of dancing, but they are American, and they don't stop feeling also in some way something else. So I don't think that you stop being someone just because technically or officially you belong to it, or you become a state. I really don't think that I don't think that changes that way. And at the end, me as a Puerto Rican, I'm 46 years old. I don't see my relationship, I don't see myself as something separated from the United States. I can't. I went to study because I had grants, federal grants. And I'm always related to it. I cannot stop it.
Interesting. So you would consider yourself more pro-statehood?
Oh, definitely.
Really?
I am one.
Really?
Yeah, my dad has been one his entire life.
Really?
Uh-huh.
How interesting. I
Yeah.
had a really good friend who was an independence, or we call independent.
Pista, exactly.
Mouthful of a word. And she had all kinds of good arguments why they should be independent. I don't know, what do you think about independence for Puerto Rico? I think that too small a place, it won't work.
I think it could like fall because they don't really have an amount of support about the US. They probably will do it like
It's a small place, and it's an island. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we should have the freedom to like vote for people who are kind of controlling the country. Like not like having so much control. We should have some independence. Like not like deciding whether or not to go to war or whether it's something.
You have a huge point there. Well, but then there's another point, which is here in the United States. See, what would happen if Puerto Rico became a state is, do you know how Congress works? Well, you know, in the House of Representatives, there's like a certain number of people we do, and we just need to like go our own way. So they did this resolution just 2 days ago. They were on the national news about it. But you know, there's just like not that simple as it sounds. Like that's the thing. So it's really interesting. Are any of you Puerto Rican, or do you have Puerto Rican relative? Well, what's your feeling on this?
I don't really, like, Puerto Rico would fall, like, completely if they were independent, because they're right now, they're a disaster, completely. Like, my dad's friend right now from Puerto Rico is living with us, because it's crazy.
There's a big crime problem, as I understand it, like that, gangs and stuff.
But everything, it's like the main streets, everything's just my dad looks at it and he's like, kind of like disappointed. He doesn't know, like, what's going on. 'cause it's
I
really
think
bad.
there's a lot of violence going on. I think it's mostly drug and gang kind of things. Yeah, that's big, you know, and it's very small to try to be some country. What did you think? Right there. Yeah. What's your family think about it?
Well, they think that it should like still be part of the U.S. but not become like a different state because like Puerto Rico won't like make it on its own because we help them a lot by like giving them like a lot of stuff.
They do have a big advantage, is they don't pay income taxes. So, which is kind of an interesting thing. Employers in Puerto Rico have to pay minimum wage, don't they? They have to go by federal laws and pay minimum wage and stuff, but Puerto Ricans don't pay income taxes. But on the other hand, not paying income taxes, I'm not sure how that translates to, I don't know if that's good or bad. Yeah.
I was like thinking that because Puerto Rico relies on what we give them. So if they become independent, they'll lose it all and then they'll become worse defensive. So I think that they should really have is like the ability to vote for our presidents and like have the rights that we have. It's like,
So you're going for a compromise solution. Well, you're an American, we love to compromise, we really do. Yeah, that's like halfway there. It's an interesting topic. Well, how many of you think that actually Puerto Rico will end up as a state? I mean, there's definitely a push for it. Do any of you think that'll happen, like say within the next 10 years? You're not seeing it. Why not?
because I don't know, there's like people who like there are a lot of people that want to stay state, there are a lot of people that want to be independent, there are people that live it now. And I think that like some people maybe at other people realize that they can't do it on their own and becoming a state with their identity, but it would just change a lot for them.
Well, it's a struggle for small places like say Jamaica. You know, it is a struggle, you know, to be a country when you're a small place.
I mean, I don't think the U.S. benefits from making Puerto Rico a state. Like, they're already in a situation where they have a territory of their own where they can do their military testings. But, and they're still getting, like, more people to call them into the U.S. and they're still getting all the trade and stuff. But they're not part of the U.S.
I'm not sure what the population is, but I know that there's a huge population of Puerto Ricans not actually living on the island. Do you know what it is?
There is a huge one and it grows more and more with every year.
And they're in New
But I
York
would like-
and like Orlando, like
Yeah.
the center part of Florida.
But I would like to add something about the fact that she mentioned. Cuando ella dice que Estados Unidos en realidad no se beneficia de Puerto Rico y que por eso es que ella piensa que nosotros nunca vamos a realmente convertirnos en un estado. Si Estados Unidos no se beneficia de Puerto Rico, ¿por qué no ha soltado el gavete? Porque Puerto Rico no nos ha soltado.
That's true.
Puerto
Oh,
Rico, porque Estados Unidos no nos ha soltado. Cuando Estados Unidos, después de más de un siglo, voluntariamente y deliberadamente ha dicho, hasta aquí llegamos, it must be because there are interests of the nation on Puerto Rico. And I mean, I'm not saying that should put any of us in disadvantage at all. What I mean is that certainly they have the power of not having us as a
Well,
territory.
the thing is, Puerto Rico is in a really good geographic location.
That's what I'm
Because, you know,
saying.
we have a huge navy. And we depend very much on, you know, we are the leading military power of the world. And if you look at the geography of the Caribbean, Puerto Rico is is situated in a really nice place because it's quick from Puerto Rico to get to Africa, to Europe or whatever, and also it's like right here. So there's definitely, for one thing, a military interest, like a geographic interest. I know they're not, they used to do those horrible tests. Did you talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I think that, like, what I meant to say before is that they don't benefit from making Puerto Rico a state, but they benefit definitely from keeping it.
They benefit from keeping it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I think that's why they won't make it.
Well, you know,
Oh, sorry. The problem with making like Puerto Rico a state would be that like in the United States, we have to like pay for them, so they lose a lot of money, billions of dollars into like making them a stadium, like bringing them people together and stuff. And there's a lot of like unemployment there, and when they become a state, then they would have to like give them all the benefits of like their minimum wage and like also like then like the poor people get like food stamps and like Medicare, so they have to like
I thought that they got.
They already are. That's what happens. It's not gonna change in that way because everything works like a. Remember, we are citizens. We just don't have the formal title of being a state and some of the benefits of being a state, but we are citizens. We have the same.
Since you were born is an American passport.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So that situation in terms of how employment will go by and some of the economics, logistics of it, they are already going on, and they've been going on already for more than a century.
What do you have to say?
They will like benefit from like keeping it as a territory, but if they make it a state, it would be a disadvantage for Puerto Rico, not in the sense that they would lose their identity, which they would, but in a way that like how you said that they don't have to pay income tax now, they would lose more money if it became a state now. Became a state because they would have to pay income tax. They would have to be just like the rest of the state.
Look, if you came along and told people in Florida, hey, we've got a deal where you won't have to pay income tax, people would be like all over it. So that's another thought there. On the other hand, a lot of Puerto Ricans are not making very much money, so actually they might benefit from paying income tax because of the earned income credit, and which might be helpful. It's just a really complicated thing, and it's kind of a weird thing because see, here we've got this issue that really came out of all this kind of backward thinking from 120 years ago when, like I said, it was like the style to go out and get these territories. Like, we still own Guam. It's just sort of out there. It's this little island way out in the Pacific, and it's just a weird situation.
How come the situation with Guam is the same as with Puerto Rico?
Well, because there's like hardly any Guamians, A, and B, it's so far, far, far away. We do see people from Guam occasionally, and we have some military bases that we use on that we have on the island. But it's like just not really.
It's not really.
Yeah.
I have a question to back what you said from before. You said that our representatives, they depend on our population in each state. So if they do make Puerto Rico a state, would they add more people to the representatives, or they would just take away?
No, they capped it out. We have 435 representatives, and that's it. Because no matter if we had 10 states or 100 million more people, because it just is already unwieldy. I think 435 is an awful lot, actually, to try to get that many people to agree on stuff. So now it's when they away from Montana or Rhode Island or Illinois, one of these states that's actually like losing population. So yeah, it would just be a net loss to some state would lose. And how would they, they're gonna oppose that. Gross. My goodness. This is like the day of like everybody coming in your room.
Exactamente. ¿De quiénes son? ¿De qué escuela son las niñas que nos están visitando?
Saints Peter and Paul.
Muy bien, bienvenidas. Tenemos de visita a la doctora Clifford, que es la jefa de departamento de historia en la escuela. La hemos invitado a hablar sobre la relación de Puerto Rico con Estados Unidos, porque estamos discutiendo ahora mismo la unidad 2 Puerto Rico en la clase. Así que, ¿hay gente de Puerto Rico en el grupo? There you go, Boricuizis.
Very interesting. We've just been talking about statehood, not statehood. It's really an issue. So let me ask you something. If Puerto Rico were to stay as it is, do you see a way that you could possibly give them some more power or make them feel a bit more part of things here in the United States?
I feel like they should have the power to vote for the president or for the leader, because it would give them more, like, kind of
hope because they would know what the right thing was and you would give their vote for them. And so like they would have like
Love that, okay?
Yeah, like what she said about them voting, I think it would give them more freedom so they would know that they are being a part of the United States because like now I feel like they feel like they're a part and it's not really things because they're not allowed to vote.
I feel like if they do receive all of the U.S. benefits that are free for their taxes too, like along with voting, we should go to where we should pay taxes.
See, now you're into civic responsibility.
I was gonna add something about that.
This is what's called Republican virtue. It's a great term. It came about hundreds of years ago. And Republican virtue doesn't mean that Republicans are better people. What it means is that we are in a republic, and so if we have benefits, then we have responsibilities. So you believe that? Huh?
Me too. And that's the reason. That's the reason why, because I need to add. Aquí hay muchos puertorriqueños que vienen de la isla buscando una mejor vida en términos económicos, ¿verdad? Los políticos en realidad no son tan importantes porque somos parte, o sea, nosotros nos sentimos parte, and that's it. Pero en términos económicos, por supuesto, tenemos muchas más probabilidades de tener un mejor sueldo y un mejor, ¿cómo se llama esto? Un mejor estilo de vida. Now, hay un grupo de puertorriqueños como yo que piensa que porque estamos aquí, yo me siento completamente parte de los Estados Unidos porque yo pago contribuciones en este país y yo tengo los beneficios de pagar contribuciones en este país. Yo pienso que si nosotros vamos a tener una relación más estrecha con Estados Unidos, pagar impuestos es parte de ello, pero I don't see it as something bad. I see it as something good because you are gaining back something.
Like the federal highways.
Exactly.
What's the deal in Puerto Rico with the roads?
We
You
receive,
don't have like federal highways. Do
We-
you have federal highways? Because that's a big thing.
yo no tengo claro yo no tengo claro si nosotros tenemos que recibir seguro, tenemos que recibir algún dinero federal que va a esa parte del desarrollo en la isla. Lo que yo no tengo muy claro es cuánto es el dinero y específicamente cómo es que llega. Pero hay una diferencia bien grande entre las carreteras de Estados Unidos y las carreteras de Puerto Rico, por ejemplo.
I'm sure.
Entonces, ¿qué pasa? Yo lo que veo, porque se cobra, we have tolls, and in some way there must be the hand of the United States in terms of the money that goes there, but hay mucha malversación de fondos as well.
Well, that's always.
So, yo pienso que en la medida en que los puertorriqueños entiendan que si nosotros queremos ciertos beneficios más, también tenemos que tener responsabilidades. That would be a very good change of mind. I don't have a problem with that at all. That's why I'm here.
Do you think Miss Santiago wanted to go into politics? I definitely do. I can see that. Well, you had something you wanted to say.
I don't like necessarily think that if Puerto Rico were to become a state, I don't think it would necessarily lose its identity because if you think about it, each state in the U.S. now currently has its own identity in a way. Like not every state is like the same.
Exactly.
So if you think about it,
Hawaii or Alaska.
yeah, like you don't think the same when you hear Hawaii, you don't think about the same thing about like Texas.
Exactly.
My son-in-law's from Texas. It's true. They've got a real thing going on there.
I mean, it's a contradict that Daniela was saying, but like other places think of us as all like cowboys. They don't all think of us like
Wait, of us who?
the United States. They think of us as one, not as
That's
separate
true.
states.
That's true.
No, we cowboys.
Even though we're not.
Yeah.
Basically, kind of like what we have in Florida. They have their legislature, they have their governor. And they've had some really good governors in the past. I don't know about the one that you've got now. I'm not so sure, but yeah.
So if they do have a toll, like you said, in Puerto Rico, where do you think that money goes to? Do you think it stays in Puerto Rico or does it stay in the United States?
Well, that's another issue. It seems like if you're gonna pay taxes, wouldn't it be good if those taxes like stayed there instead of like going into our big, huge.
But it will always,
Tax pot?
but I think that Puerto Rico will always be affected like here. We have things that are state matter y otras que son federales. So, yo pienso que para todo hay una.
You lose a lot of autonomy as a state. You know, like right now I think, well, say illegal immigrants. Puerto Rico can pretty much set some policy right now. I don't know.
As far as like Puerto Rico and like the leaders and like decision making, like what can you do?
What can they do? They can run the island. But there are certain limitations because like in a lot of places they have to follow U.S. laws, which may be good or may interfere. But yeah, they're more like the governor of the state.
I believe that Puerto Rico, they're not gonna like the mosaic concept that people come here and they just add to the big picture while staying themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're gonna lose like who they are because you're not gonna be Puerto Rican and then not be Puerto Rican. You're gonna be from Puerto Rico, but not be Puerto Rican like nothing.
Yeah, I know, but you can see why people would be worried about losing that. Like, how many of you have listened to your grandparents complain about your terrible Spanish? And, right? Yeah. You know?
Oh, yeah, okay. Like, I think that no matter of like, should they be a part of the state, should they not, or like, should they pay taxes? Like, if they're going to be considered U.S. citizens, they should get everything that a U.S. citizen gets and has. Like, they should be able to pay taxes. They should also vote. Like, they can't have some and like none. It's either all or none.
You're like all or nothing.
Yeah.
You're either in or you're out.
Yeah, because they
That's
get
how you see it.
benefits.
But
But then they also get some benefits and they get some like non-beneficial things.
don't you think it would be just very weird to be in this like halfway situation like they are?
Yeah, it's just
It seems like you have to be double checking yourself all the time. Like, is this a Puerto Rican thing or is this an American thing? Can I do this or I can't do this? You were thinking of something back there.
And can I add something really quick? What is really weird is to know that, por ejemplo, yo me siento puertorriqueña, por supuesto, pero también me siento americana, por supuesto. So I get offended twice differently.
Different ways.
When I hear people, cuando yo escucho mucha gente de Puerto Rico que viene aquí o hispanos que llegan a este país a criticar y a criticar y a quejarse y a quejarse y a quejarse, yo digo, pero ¿cuál era la situación en tu país? Si a ti te va tan mal aquí hay tantos problemas, why are you here? ¿Ve? So it's really there are no words to explain la dicotomía que vive una persona como yo que creció en Puerto Rico, siendo Puerto Rico siempre estado. I come from a home where my two parents were from pro statehood, and then come here after being an adult and look at Puerto Rico. Okay, esa es mi isla, la extraño, esto, aquello, lo otro, yes, but yo adoro la vida que yo tengo en este país. Y no puedo dejar de sentirme americana ni dejar de sentirme puertorriqueña.
That's interesting.
It is really interesting and I love the feeling of feeling American and Puerto Rican. I love
You
it.
love that.
Yeah.
You don't feel confused.
Para nada. Y nunca lo he sentido, Clifford, nunca lo he sentido. So I try to understand other people and I try to be as objective as I can. Pero yo no me veo separada de ninguna de las dos identidades because I have acquired both identities at the same time.
See, like I grew up in Latin America. We did kind of the opposite. My family is American, but I grew up in Latin America. That's why I speak Spanish. And but I always knew what I was.
Because it depends
Just
also
one
on the
thing.
home or the circumstances that took you to that country.
Circumstances too, but I've never thought I was anything except
Be-
just one thing.
Exactly, but think of this: if your parents moved to that country, seguramente fue por una decisión deliberada y libre de tu familia. I didn't have that option. I grew up in a place where it was already American territory.
That's true.
So for me, it's normal to think of the United States the way I think of it.
Let me ask you something.
Uh-huh.
How does your son see himself?
Oh my God, and that's another interesting thing.
He's becoming an independentista.
No, para nada.
Okay, curious.
Mi hijo se siente both. Y yo le he preguntado directamente. Él se ve a sí mismo as an American in a lot of senses, pero en términos culturales y de postura ideológica at times, he sees himself as a Puerto Rican.
Isn't this a great country?
I love it. That's exactly
Where
what.
we can just like fit in.
Exactly.
people so well.
This
and,
is just a huge part.
and I think Miami, I think we do such a great. I think Miami is awesome as far as fitting people in. Don't you?
I do too.
You've all got neighbors from everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if people get along, I think we should be super proud of ourselves. I think you should be super proud of yourselves. It's such mature.
Definitely.
comments.
This is amazing.
Well,
Thank you so
I hope
much.
you'll all think about taking Caribbean studies next year. Because you've got an interest, I'd love to have you. Well, thanks.
Muchas
Really,
gracias,
I
Clifford.
enjoyed it.
Muchas gracias.